Hey, Jesus freaks, it's Thursday. It's that time of the week where I attempt not to make a complete fool out of myself. Now, when I was at the very mature age of 22 and I still thought that I knew everything, I helped co-lead a mission trip to the country of Wales. Now, to the geographically challenged, the country of Wales is part of the United Kingdom and is right beside England. And one morning, as I was leading this group of about 15 people in morning devotions, I posed this question. Who is your greatest enemy? And starting from my right, one by one, they all started to say, the devil, Satan, Lucifer, until I almost came to the end when I came to a man named Peter, who I knew the rest of the team didn't really see as very spiritual. Out of all the people, he was the one who gave the correct answer. Do you know what it is? Well, if not, please stay tuned and watch this video all the way to the end. I guess that animated intro just gave you the answer, didn't it? Well, watch this video all the way to the end anyway. Peter answered correctly because he said that he was his own worst enemy. There's just something deeply flawed about our human nature, isn't there? Now, that's not to say that outside influences, such as the devil, can't incite us to do wrong, but ultimately our problems lie from within us. Yet it's remarkable how our human nature wants to deny that basic fact about ourselves and blame outside influences instead. Take, for example, the hostility that faced the American atheist psychologist Herbert Maurer, who in 1960 published an article titled Sin, the Lesser of Two Evils. Now, his credentials were impeccable. He was professor at Johns Hopkins, one-time professor at Yale and Princeton. He was also one-time president of the American Psychologists Association. But by writing that article, he had committed the unpardonable sin of his profession by questioning whether or not he and his colleagues had essentially thrown out the baby with the bathwater in rejecting Christianity's view of sin and moral accountability. Now, allow me to briefly quote him. For several decades, we psychologists have looked upon the whole matter of sin and moral accountability as a great incubus, and we have acclaimed our freedom from it as epic making. But at length we have discovered to be free in this sense is to have the excuse of being sick rather than being sinful, is also to court the danger of becoming lost. In becoming amoral, ethically neutral and free, we have cut the very roots of our being, lost our deepest sense of selfhood and identity. And that, my friends, was written by an atheist, who, by the way, received more hostile letters from his colleagues over that article more than any other article he had ever written. Now, what I find fascinating is how a several thousand-year-old story gives far more insight into human nature than many of our modern ideas. You know the story that I'm talking about how Adam and Eve disobeyed God by biting into the apple. What? The Bible doesn't actually say it was an apple, it just says it was fruit. But isn't that what all the storybooks say? Now, whether you see Adam and Eve as historical figures or you see it more as a story, either way, the moral of the lesson is still the same. That when confronted for their wrongdoing, their immediate response was to blame someone or something else. Isn't it interesting how the second great sin was to deny any moral responsibility for the first one? And are we really any different today? Isn't our first response for something that we've done wrong to blame someone else? To blame our spouse, our kids, our co-workers, our life circumstances? Aren't we really, deep down inside, our own worst enemy?
Thank you for watching.
Please subscribe to my dad's YouTube channel. What are you waiting for? Subscribe now.